Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and CA put out the cinematic trailer for Norsca. It's going to be pretty sweet. I'm going to let it play and then we'll get back and discuss this trailer as well as some other things that were released. So let's get to it.
We seek the monsters that you fear the most. We chase the nightmares that haunt your cowardly dreams. The deadlier the prey, the more we exult in the hunt, the more we honor our gods. This harsh land breeds the savage, and we revel in it. The old world calls. Ripe for our taking. We fought monsters, and we became them.
Yeah, pretty cool. So it looks like they do put up the release date, August 10th, 2017. CA did reveal a couple more images later on. Let's go back and take a look at a couple things here. Obviously, well, you first are introduced to the north, a land of cold. Sort of chaos is being involved here. We can see a chaos dragon, lots of monsters lurking to the north, and the tribes obviously having to live in this frigid wasteland have gotten all the better from it, much stronger, focusing on hunting, and kind of their army roster has a duality to it with Norscan troops, but then also monsters of the north. So yeah, they show this, and I was pretty interested to see that CA had a cinematic trailer like this. This isn't typical. I assume this is because it's been wrapped up into the Warhammer 2 budget. That makes the most sense to me because, of course, this is going to be a early adopter bonus. So yeah, this is definitely coming out of the Warhammer 2 budget. I mean, if they're doing a full CGI trailer like this, they want to toss it out there. And then we start to see some other things, some dwarves having pushed to the north. We see a Viking longship here. A couple other units scattered around. Yeah, here's another dwarf. Oh my god, with this chaos swords through his chest. It looks so great. A giant obviously moving around. And then towards the end, here we see Wulfric the Wanderer. He's going to be one of the legendary lords that you can play as. And then a little bit after, we definitely get to see one of the War Mammoths. So those guys are confirmed, looking super glorious. And there are actually in-game shots of these that we can get to in the near future. We also see a bunch of warriors in the background. Some of them look like they have pelts over the top of their heads. Those are probably berserker type units. But that's it for the trailer. So relatively short, very cool stuff. Looks awesome. And let's get over, I have a couple tabs open. Let's get over to this page that CA put up that does show off a couple images. We'll get to those in a second, but they have a little bit of an about Norsca blurb here. So they say, Norsca, a barren, inhospitable peninsula to the north of the Old World. Here dwell ferocious tribes of warriors, hardened by relentless blizzards, the ice tundra, and the monstrous denizens of the accursed land. And then they talk about fanatical servants, so obviously tied to chaos in many ways. And here they add the fact that we're going to have 2 new legendary lords, and each of them is going to have obviously their own start positions, quest chains, and things of that nature, unique mechanics. The 2 are going to be Wulfric, the Wanderer without fear. So he's going to be the first one, so he's essentially kind of like a big Norse Viking. And then the second one is going to be Thrall, the mountainous troll king, possessed of an intelligence rare in his vile kind. So those are the 2 guys. Both seem to be melee focused. Wulfric will probably, presumably have bonuses for travel at sea, perhaps raiding, be more of a duelist. Thrall will be, it's always cool to have a big monstrous lord like that. And I'm sure he'll have bonuses for recruitment of monstrous units because the Norsca roster is kind of split between your Norscan core units and then their monstrous, excuse me, allies. So they have a new monster hunt quest type of feature here that's pretty sweet. So this is probably one of the new mechanics they're talking about. So these are little quests that you can go on. Quest to subjugate unique deadly quarries, forcing them to fight amongst your ranks. So perhaps to unlock the War Mammoth that we saw before, you won't be able to unlock it until you go on a monster hunt to do that. And I don't know how that's going to happen. Is it a quest chain that you kind of unlock and just click a button and it does it? Or do you actually go into the battle and fight, say, an army of 5 war mammoths and have to essentially kill them, and then after the battle they kind of resurrect, presumably having been like tamed for your uses. So that's kind of cool. Command brand new units like the war mammoths, savage skin wolves, and mysterious Fimir. Okay, so that's right. So there's some images above, and these are confirmed to be the Fimir, so that's pretty awesome. Construct monstrous or monoliths to honor the ancient dark gods and receive their blessing to further your conquest. So some hints at new mechanics, monster quests, constructing monoliths, and presumably raiding are going to be big features for the Norsca. So we can go over some of the images here because they are freaking awesome. So a lot to digest in this image. The big one that stands out is going to be the Chaos War Mammoths. These guys are some of the largest monsters, perhaps even the largest monsters in Warhammer compared to some of the larger dinosaurs of the Lizardmen, and these guys are brutal. So big hulking mammoths with spikes all over them, and they actually have the mark of the ruinous power. So they have, as you can see in the back here, these towers on top of them that presumably can spew out kind of chaos influence and buff their forces. These Chaos War Mammoths are also going to have huge fear effects on the enemy. So yeah, these guys are going to be a pleasure to play with. I believe there's going to be multiple variants, some with just, I guess, more Chaos Magic focus Howdah, and then another Howdah probably will be an artillery piece, and then another one will just be infantry kind of hanging on, tossing javelins or throwing axes. Over in the front, you can actually see some of the new units that we weren't quite sure are going to be here, but these are the Fimir. And I think there's an image that's a little bit better. Yeah, so look on the left. So the Fimir, according to the lore, they don't really feature that much in the lore, but they're supposed to be a very ancient race, one of the oldest followers of Chaos, and they're kind of amphibious humanoid monsters. They have one eye, they have kind of beaks and jaws, and then in the back they have these armored, almost turtle shells, so you can see that. And then a little bit in the back, they're supposed to have a clubbed tail, so that's confirmed there. So from images that you can see online, they didn't really look this big and ferocious, but CA has definitely made them look pretty brutal. So that is awesome to see those guys kind of resurrected out of the dark corners of the lore books. So yeah, there's these images. Over here, this looks to be Thrall, the Troll King. He has his cape here, he's got his braided beard, and he is definitely going to be a melee-focused lord. Big monstrous guy with a big troll hammer, going to smash you down. And like I said, he's probably going to have the ability to more easily recruit or buff up other monstrous units in the roster. We can see a fair amount of other units in here. The Chaos kind of marauders and things that we're used to, some mounted on horse, but then we start to see the equivalent of dire packs, these kind of like snow wolves. Over here, we do see some of the skin wolves, I believe, or some sort of variant thereof. I believe in the earlier image we saw a better. Okay, so this one looks more like a skin wolf. The ones on the right, I'm not quite sure what these are going to be. It could be the kind of bear variant. So essentially, what those are is it's kind of like the werewolf story, but taken to the extreme. So warriors have this ferocious spirit inside of them. I guess it kind of helps with chaos as well. But essentially, what happens when they go into battle? A wolf will essentially tear itself out of their skin, covered then in the remains of the human. Like, there'll be like flesh and entrails still dripping off of them as this wolf emerged from the body, and then they fight on the battlefield. And these guys are supposed to be very, very fast monsters, probably anti-infantry with AoE effects, going to be very devastating for front lines. As well as these Fimir. I mean, look at them now. They have these huge hammers, a lot of anti-infantry capacity here. Other units we can see as well. It looks like these are going to be Yetis in the center, with big ice hammers. And what else do we have? Looking through here, I'm trying to see if we can confirm anything else from the images. It looks like a couple of these Yetis. I believe those are Chaos Spawn or some sort of Chaos Warrior in a small unit. We can see more of these trolls and giants. People have speculated that we might even see bile trolls in the future. But yeah, and then there's also the kind of a Chaos Dragon, but with the Frost variant. Perhaps we'll even see Ice Drakes or Ice Dragons. And then over on the right-hand side, we do get to see the in-engine version of Wulfric. So he has his, I guess, little wolf pet, and he is a wanderer, as we've stated before. So he's going to be more of a duelist, and he is a hunter champion. But then also he has this famous longship that he uses to travel the world called Sea Fang. And so presumably to me, I think he'll have bonuses for movement at sea and raiding and whatever function that plays in the economy. And lastly, we get to see another image of one of these kind of frosted chaos dragons fighting against the dwarves who are coming up north. So yeah, you can see a bunch of the troops in the background, and that's about it. So awesome images. Let's close this. Let's open up another of the tabs that I have so we can look at Thrall, the Troll King. So you can see this artwork very much matches what we saw in that previous image. So he's pretty dope. Excuse me, some pop-ups here. Wulfric also, we can see them. They have huge pages that you can dive into, and this is going to be, like I said, Sea Fang, his longship. There's a bunch of other stories that you can look at for these characters. There's a lot to them. The Norsca itself, they do have a nice list of potential infantry rosters that you can look up on the wiki page. So let's go over those real quickly. So they have the bondsmen. So these are kind of going to be your main warrior elite. These are going to be servers of your Jarl, and the Jarls are supposed to be kind of the big, obviously Viking-inspired raider leaders. So yeah, your bondsmen are going to be your main infantry. The Freeholders kind of help support them. Warriors are often a class above regular bondsmen. So Freeholders, I guess, sorry, I interpreted that differently. So these guys are going to be kind of an upgrade to your bondsmen. Then the Chaos Marauders, these guys are the ones we've seen before. Thus far, they haven't been too powerful. I'm assuming CA is going to revamp them a little bit, make them a little more powerful. And then after that, we have Reavers, brutal warriors who plunder the coastlines. So these guys are probably going to be put atop your ships as well. And I was going to say hopefully we have ships that can dock, but I forgot you can't have ships in this game. But presumably you can still recruit Reavers from aboard your ships and kind of set them on land as a bit more of they won't necessarily have their land legs back under them. So yeah, I assume they're going to be a class below the bondsmen and freeholders, great at sea, but on land, perhaps being more light infantry, maybe even focused on skirmishing. They have seers, so bringing a little bit of magic. Scalds, so these are, they say here, typically the musicians and banners of their war band. So this could be a buffing unit, a slaver, and then a whaler. So the whaler here probably going to make it into the mix because they fill a particular role. So the whalers are kind of hunters that, obviously as the name implies, go and hunt big whales in the chaos seas that are mutated. So these guys are good at taking out big monsters, and they'll probably form a kind of skirmisher corps that they would otherwise use at sea to hunt whales or big monsters. So these guys are probably going to be armed with javelins, and those are going to be anti-large bonuses, I would presume. So that's going to be a cool unit. After that, we have two Norse lords, the war leaders, and the Victi. So yeah, that's the main infantry roster. Then after that, we do get to see, of course, the kind of duality of it, where there's the Norscan infantry, and then we get to see the Norscan monsters. I did pull up the Yeti here, which I believe I saw an image of. So a very cool unit. And then the Fimir here. So like I said, in the lore, we don't really see too much of them. Here's an image from the art book, and it's really different from if you go back to the initial page. Where's a good image of them? Yeah, look on the back left. Nothing like this Fimir image. So I really like what CI actually did to them. They look way more scary and ominous. But yeah, that's it for the infantry roster that we looked at. The rest of the monsters are kind of going to be scattered across the images here. There could be more, but for the most part, the iconic one is going to be the War Mammoth. And then after that, we're going to be seeing the Fimir. We're going to be seeing let me go back, the Skin Wolves. And then looks like the bear variant of the Skin Wolf. We're going to be seeing some kind of a northern dire wolf variant, Yetis, and then various other trolls. It seems like I saw a giant in the background there. Yeah, some giants added to the roster. And then in the infantry, the ones we've covered, and perhaps some flying ice dragons or chaos dragons. So that's it for kind of what we can glean from the roster. There is going to be more gameplay here soon, so stay tuned, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.